There are few things worse, more frustrating, more anxiety-provoking for a woman than a man who is not stepping up to lead, to initiate, to make the plans, to be clear in his vision of where he is taking you. And I'm talking about right from the first date or even before the first date. The way that a man should be showing up with a woman is right from the very beginning. He is leading the interaction. He's leading the conversation to get to know the woman. He's leading any logistics, like once he decides, like, hey, I like you, I would like to meet. He's making plans. He's figuring out what you like. He's figuring out when you are free. He's setting up a place. He's setting up a time. He's setting up a way to get there. And then that continues for the entire dynamic, right? For multiple dates, then he claims you as his woman, hopefully, as his girlfriend. And then he continues dating you, continues getting to know you. He's still doing the planning. He's still doing the initiating all the way up until marriage. And then it still continues, right? He's still leading after that, so that you as a woman can just relax. You can just let go and follow his lead as he makes these decisions that ideally, it's quite important, are taking into consideration how you feel and taking into consideration what you need, right? He's not just leading selfishly, he's leading to take care of you because he likes you, because he's attracted to you, and because eventually he loves you. And also just, hopefully because he just honors women in general. So that's how a man should be showing up ideally. In our society today, we've got a lot of problems. Like, we got a long way to go to get back to anything like that. So we've got some men who are like that, but we've got a lot of men who are not showing up in that way. And also, for a man to really be motivated into that role, a woman has to be more in her feminine, right? The more that a woman is in her masculine or lacking self-worth in some kind of way, trying to control in some way, the less that a man is going to be inspired into showing up in that way. That's not to excuse his behavior or justify his behavior. He should be showing up that way regardless. But it's important to understand that the way that a woman shows up will have a huge effect on a man in that way. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about why men are not showing up with you consistently in this way, and why that's bringing up anxiety for you, and what you can do about it to experience a much better reality with a man. So before we get to that, hello, my name is Zach Rohde. I'm here to lead you into creating the relationship of your dreams using feminine energy and what I call feminine communication to inspire a man into stepping up and cherishing you. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, make sure you do that below. Hit the notification bell and be sure to like this video because I'm going to make sure it's a good one for you today. And if you would like to learn more about how to inspire a man into cherishing you, then go below this video, open up the description. You're going to see the links to all of my offers, and a great place to start is my free webinar that will show you all about how to shift out of your unhealthy control patterns. All right, back to the good stuff here. So I am going through my book one step at a time here. This is Inspire His Devotion. You can find it on Amazon by typing in my name, Zach Rohde. And where we're at right now is I'm just going through a whole bunch of examples, behaviors that a man can exhibit that will create anxiety for a woman and why that happens. And the one that we are on, it's all about initiating. I'm just going to read it out to you. So a man who waits around for a woman to initiate because it communicates that he doesn't have the confidence necessary to provide, or that he doesn't like being with her enough to provide. So leading, initiating, making plans, making decisions, that is a form of provision. A man is supposed to be in the providing role. He is the one that is providing for his woman. That is his job. And that starts right when he meets a woman. So if he decides, I like this woman, he needs to be providing that. And there's many forms of provision. There's financial provision. There is various forms of emotional provision. And then there's just many forms of leadership provision, like planning, deciding, initiating, all of that stuff. So a man is supposed to be in that role with a woman. The reason that a man might not, so many men today have been so conditioned not to lead. Feminism has a lot to do with this. Just also being beaten down emotionally by women who are controlling in some kind of way. and nitpicky and are just not okay with the leadership that a man has. Now, of course, this is also because the man's leadership is weak to begin with. I've gone out with hundreds and hundreds of women before. I've experienced one woman who actually tried to control my leadership really early on, like on a first date. I don't even know why I continued. I should have just ended it at that point, but I just wanted to be able to see if I could lead through any kind of issue or disrespect. Anyway, it's really rare when a man has self-confidence, when he has self-esteem, when he's sure of himself. Because a woman is going to feel that, right? She's going to feel his self-confidence, and that's going to allow her to just relax and follow his lead. It's when a man lacks self-confidence, that's when a woman is going to feel that. Right? Women are very perceptive, especially when it comes to men and how they are showing up. So a woman is going to feel a man's lack of self-assuredness in his leadership. She's going to pick up on his doubt, on any anxiety that he is experiencing, and it's going to compel some women, many women, into kind of stepping up and leading in some kind of way, into suggesting plans, for example, right? And really early on, like a first date, that's typically the most that a woman will do. Some women who will do more, but most are relatively passive, and I use the word passive in a good way, right? Because women should be passive. A woman should be waiting receptively for the man to lead. So a woman's typically not going to be stepping up to do much in the leadership department really early on, but that's not even quite true. There are women who are kind of leading right from the beginning. There's actually a reasonable amount of my clients where we've had these conversations where prior to learning about my work, that's what they would do. And that's what happens when a woman lacks self-worth. She lacks feminine self-worth. But you may have a certain level of agency where it's like that you can make things happen for yourself, right? Make things happen in the business world and other places. You can make things happen in your love life. So what you do is you lead these interactions by initiating, by making the plans, by making the suggestions. And of course, you're only going to typically attract really weak, passive men. Because healthy masculine men, they want to be leading. And they will probably start leading before you ever even think about it. Even if a man's like not really strong, if he's just strong enough and a woman starts leading, he's not going to like it and he's probably going to say something. Usually, not always, but a lot of the time. Women who are more controlling in this way, who are leading, who are initiating, who are planning, they're going to attract more feminine men. And you're basically starting a potential relationship off on the worst foot imaginable. Because you're interacting with a man who hasn't demonstrated any willingness and or competency at leading, at being the one that's taking charge. So that is what you're setting up the relationship for. It's like you're going to be the one that's in charge. You're going to be the one that's leading this. So it's completely inverted. You're not going to be taken care of, because to be taken care of, the man has to be in the leadership role. He has to be in the caretaking role. If you are the one that is leading, that's planning, that's initiating, you're in the caretaking role. You're in the role of cherishing the man by making these plans, by doing all this stuff for him, by making his life easy. Is that the role that you want to be in? Probably not, especially not if you have any kind of awareness of it, of what that actually means. So your job is to just lean back and wait for a man to step up. Now, of course, if you lack that self-worth, you lack that belief that, of course, like here's the belief of a woman who's fully in her feminine self-worth. Of course he's going to want to lead and take care of me. Of course he's going to make all the plans. Of course he's going to initiate. Of course he's going to handle all the logistics. I don't need to worry about any of that stuff. If he needs something from me, he needs some information or whatever, he will ask. Otherwise, I am just going along for the ride here, right? That is the mindset that you should be operating from. And not just the mindset, but like the deepest belief. So it's a deep knowing, which is going to mean that you're not going to feel any anxiety if he hasn't stepped up yet. Because you'll just know that he will. And if he doesn't, that's okay. He's not right for you, or he doesn't like you. And there's nothing that you should do in that situation, because you shouldn't step up to lead. It's really that simple. Now, if a man doesn't step up, like let's say that this is a man you really like, and this isn't necessarily a first date, like this could be a first date, it could be a third date, it could be a 10th date, it could be, you're already boyfriend and girlfriend. Pay attention to yourself, to your body, when he's not stepping up. Pay attention to how you feel, because you will likely feel at least a low level of anxiety when a man is not stepping up to lead. And that anxiety is there because what he is telling you through his actions or inactions in this case is, I'm either not capable of providing or I'm not willing to. And if this is a man you really like, then these fears are going to come up because of the potential that he will abandon you, or because you're realizing that he's not capable of taking care of you. So you're going to feel some level of anxiety, and that's normal. The problem is when you allow that anxiety to compel you into a control pattern of leading, making decisions, initiating plans, making suggestions, right? That's all masculinized control patterns when you go into that. And that's when you start inverting the dynamic. That's when it's going to start causing a lot of problems, whether it's early on or whether you're already in a relationship. When you do that, when you allow your fear, when you allow yourself to be led by your fear into those control patterns, you are contributing to the downfall of the relationship because you are taking on the masculine role and you're putting him more in the feminine role. And of course, he's putting himself in the feminine role by not leading. But I actually should say, there's also men who are quite capable of leading where, and I'm talking about longer term in a relationship, where the woman goes into the more of the leading role anyway because she's so anxious. It's like the man is just somewhat chill. He's just not an anxious person or a real type A personality, but he can still be quite masculine. But the woman has so much anxiety that she's compelled into that leading role anyway because it's like, we just got to get this done. Like, we got to pack. You know, she doesn't have that trust and faith in the man. And that could actually have nothing to do with the man. Sometimes. Sometimes it does. Sometimes there's things that the man can do to shift, but sometimes it's literally just the woman's anxiety. So some of that anxiety in this case, or actually a lot of the anxiety in this specific case, would be coming from a wound, right? If you can't even trust a man to lead when he's actually capable of leading, that's definitely stemming from a wound. But then there's also going to be that instinctual fear that's there. If a man is actually not stepping up in a reasonable way to lead and to initiate, that is your feminine instinct telling you, hey, something is wrong here. But either way, regardless of where that fear is stemming from, what matters is you're feeling fear. You're not having a good time. You're being compelled into a control pattern that would be sabotaging and ruining the dynamic. And so what you need to do in this case is, first of all, don't go into that control pattern, right? Don't do all of that stuff. There's a common saying in the feminine polarity industry, which is like a woman needs to lean back. So your job is just to lean back, creating this space for the man to move in and start stepping up and leading, right? And this is especially true if it's a motivation issue on his part. And most of the time it really is a motivation issue, right? You'll find the more that you shift into your feminine self-worth and your feminine energy, men just start stepping up because they feel so inspired now to start leading, initiating, taking care of you in that way. So the idea of leaning back is really important, where you're not putting your energy outward into making things happen. You're conserving your energy for yourself and just flowing, just enjoying yourself. And it's just knowing, of course, whatever needs to happen is going to happen. I don't need to make anything happen. I just need to be having fun for myself. I just need to be taking care of myself. And that includes if you're by yourself, say this is like you've gone out with a man on a date and now it's a second date and you really like him. That can also just mean not focusing on him, not thinking about him. Focus on what's bringing you joy. You spend time with your friends, with your cats, with your passions, and just have faith that, of course, the man is going to contact you. The more that you're thinking about him, that in itself is kind of a control pattern, even if you're not doing anything. And he'll feel that on some level, and you're just kind of torturing yourself. So there's no good that can come from that. So you're leaning back, number one, focusing on yourself, just having faith that he's going to step up. But then the other thing, leaning back isn't enough most of the time. Early on, like that's really all you should be doing, but the more that you get to know a man, you can't just be passive and do nothing while also being in your feminine self-worth. You have to also use feminine communication when stuff is coming up for you, especially if the man starts demonstrating patterns of not showing up properly. And there might be a reason there. It might be a confidence issue. It might be something else. It might be because of a misunderstanding. You must use feminine communication. You must ask him for help. You must share the feelings that are coming up for you. You must share what the problems are that you're experiencing without judging and blaming, right? So you're going to tell him, like, I'm feeling really anxious, or I'm feeling a lot of fear right now. And you're opening yourself up to his help. you need to do that for yourself, and also so that he knows what's going on, so that he can be a better man. And the more that you are able to start stepping up into communicating what's going on for you, not communicating to control and initiate and plan, but just communicating to express what's coming up for you, the more that it's going to help you regulate those big feelings, because now they're not compelling you into these unhealthy control patterns. You're using it to open yourself up and share what's in there, which is a whole bunch of anxiety. And guess what? That's typically not going to scare away a man, especially not the right kind of men. I'm sure it could scare away some men. But men who, number one, like you to some degree, and number two, who are relatively healthy, or even a lot of men who aren't that healthy, they're going to, it's not that they're going to enjoy the fact that you are anxious, right? A man doesn't want his woman to be anxious, or the woman that he is dating to be anxious. It's more that you're communicating so much trust and so much respect in the way that you are sharing that anxiety. And you're opening up your heart. So it's like, wow, it's a beautiful part of you that you're willing to share with him. But it's all about how you do it. Right? If you do this wrong, if you do this with the wrong energy or with the wrong words, where you're judging him in some kind of way, or you're trying to control him subtly, unconsciously, where you're manipulating him, where you're trying to grasp at some kind of outcome, where you're putting it on him in some kind of way. This is what most women do when they share their feelings, when they think that they're sharing their feelings anyway. They think that they're being vulnerable, but they're not being vulnerable. That will push away a man, right? And so much of my job, what I'm here to do, to bring to the world, is to show you how to not do that, because obviously you don't want these relationships to end, and you don't want to feel terrible when you try sharing your heart. So my job is to show you how to do that in a clean, beautiful, respectful, vulnerable way. Then instead of getting that response, instead inspires him into just wanting to hear you, hold space for you, and take care of you, and to shift himself and his behaviors to give you what you need. And that's possible. If you would like help learning how to do that, then go below this video, open up the description. You're going to see the links to all of my offers. And if you would like actual hands-on support from me and my team, then go to thedreamrelationship.com. That's my academy offer. You'll then book a call with me. We'll talk all about what's going on in your love life. I'll give you some coaching. I'll make sure that we can actually help you solve the problem that you're experiencing and actually get you your dream relationship. And if I believe that we can, then we'll talk all about how we can help you, and you can potentially work with us. If that is you, I will see you on that call. I look forward to it. That's it for this one.